And a new study is out this morning. It shows an alarming spike in pedestrian deaths, up 22% just in the past 2 years. And yes, your smartphone takes a lot of that blame. NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Orlando, which has the distinction of being the most dangerous city in the country for walkers. Hi, Kerry. Good morning.
And I'm in the crosswalk, and the countdown just went down, so let me get across the street here. But yes, Orlando does have that distinction. Every day, 2 people are struck in a crosswalk, and sadly, once a week, a person struck dies. And yes, it has a lot to do with this, cell phones. And we're not talking about people in cars. We're talking about people walking across the street, looking down at their phones, and often with their earbuds in, so they can't hear and react to what's going on around them. It can happen in an instant. Abhishek Tulsian was hit by a car on Christmas Eve as he walked in famed South Beach.
I had no clue. I didn't see that car, and it just hit me.
It turns out it's now more dangerous than ever to walk. According to a new report by the Governor's Highway Safety Association, in 2016, about 6,000 pedestrians were killed nationwide. That's an 11% increase in just 1 year, up a stunning 22% from the previous year.
That's a humongous increase for over 2 years. It's just really tragic.
6 weeks ago, Susan Gentry was nearly killed by a pickup truck while she and her family were crossing the street. The light was green and they were in a crosswalk when she was hit.
I was pinned underneath the truck.
Susan fractured 9 ribs and her pelvis, but she wasn't the only pedestrian struck that night.
While we were in trauma, another lady came in and she'd been hit by a motorcycle.
It's a growing problem. Experts say there are more cars on the road thanks to an improved economy and lower gas prices, and more people are walking for their health and for the environment. But one of the biggest problems now, the increase in smartphone use, a huge distraction for drivers and walkers. Best advice for a pedestrian.
So people need to not be looking at their phones all the time. They need to be aware of their surroundings.
Delaware had the most pedestrian deaths per capita, followed by Florida, Arizona, South Carolina, and New Mexico. Traffic engineers are designing solutions, fences and medians to cut off jaywalking routes, traffic circles that make drivers slow down instead of stop signs they may miss, and speed bumps that force drivers to slow down. Susan Gentry has her own solution for drivers and pedestrians.
Put away your devices, nothing's that important.
As I'm standing here in Orlando, you guys might be wondering, right outside your window, New York City, the most heavily walked city in America. Surprisingly, percentage-wise, doesn't even make the top 10, in part because when there are people crossing the road, there's often large crowds, and cars in New York City drive relatively slowly. And there may be a solution overseas as we look to the Netherlands, because this is not a unique problem of just Americans looking down at their phones. The Netherlands have created a crosswalk where it actually beams down light, so as you're looking at your phone, you can look beyond with your peripheral vision, and you see that red line means don't walk, and then your peripheral vision picks up the green line, and then it says, okay, look up from your phone and walk across the street. Or I guess, guys, we could decide just not to look at our phones and wear our earbuds, but unlikely.
There's an idea. Guilty as sin, I have to say.
You say you text as you go down the street all the time.
And it's dangerous, and I know I shouldn't do it. I don't text and drive, but I think it's a lesson for all of us, really. Plus, you get distracted, even if it's not just about looking. Your mind is somewhere else,
right.
So that's not good.
All right, Kerry, thank you very much.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.